a simple kind of, if we don't have access to 3D, a simple idea is like in a mirror, put a little Sharpie line on the mirror, like a little dry or a little dry erase marker, and then measure what 8 inches looks like and kind of move to that point. And if we can do that, I think we're setting that player up for a little bit more success, specifically with driver.
All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. We're continuing our day with Ryan Holley. Ryan, we've just done a full session with me on the plates, looking at my swing DNA, and we've really keyed in some great things that have given me, to be honest, some free speed. Speed wasn't really our focus. We were more kind of looking at the sequence and trying to get the sort of club into the right spots. But I got some speed for free, and I think everyone would love some speed for free. That's for something. Sure. When anytime we do speed stuff on the channel, our audience really gravitates towards it. I think they love to take that information and head to the range. So what can we give them today that they can take to the range?
Yeah, I think first off with driver, like take it away from the ground for a second. Yeah. The movement of this left shoulder, I think, is incredibly important.
That was a big part of the lesson there.
For sure. Yeah. And you're not going to see great players move that little bone, that AC joint, less than about 8 inches. Right. Okay, so if you're looking in a mirror at home and that AC joint doesn't get at least inside the leg, I can guarantee that it's not moving far enough. We see all kinds of poor adaptations from that. So if a player doesn't kind of get that AC joint to move, they'll get to here that it feels incomplete, and they'll start to kind of collapse the arm to try to feel like they've reached this kind of general conclusion to their golf swing. Okay. I think that's a big thing. It ensures a proper amount of turn. Yep. So a lot of players who they say they can't turn because they're immobile, they actually just don't know how to turn. Right. They're trying to turn kind of into this type of area. This hasn't moved. If I just free this up to get across my body, that will automatically create the shoulder turn that most people are looking for. I've met very few people that are so immobile they can't reach 90 degrees. I'm sure it happens. I just don't see it very often.
I think a lot of people, that little light bulb would have just went on with the way you moved there. Was because you just went, and I'll do this to the camera, you made what looked like a 90-degree turn, but you'd done it on your lead side. Correct. And that little nub there in your shoulder is barely moved. Correct. It's just moved forward rather than moved around.
And that all of a sudden, that starts to create this 90-degree turn that we're all looking for. But it does it under the right idea. Yeah. Right. So I think that there's usually, like, say, 4 or 5 pillars that we need to build golf swings around. I'm a big believer in this idea of like swing your swing, right? We hear that all the time. Sure. But if your swing has nothing in common with what great players do, then it's probably not worth swinging in the first place.
I agree.
Right? So if I can kind of check off 4 or 5 of these boxes that I think most great players do, and then let the player's physical limitations, let their kind of outcome desires, let their kind of past color the rest of it, but around these pillars, they'll end up being a pretty good player. Right. When they think that, oh, I can hit good golf shots the way that I do it, yeah, they probably can, but do they hit them often enough? And generally speaking, if somebody's taking a lesson or watching an instructional video on YouTube, they're not hitting as well as they'd like. Totally. Okay. So we always want to build around that. So the first step there, is just getting that left joint to move as far as it can. Okay. So and risk making it move too far. If that means your head comes off the golf ball, if that means you end up feeling like a slide or a sway backwards, that's fine. It doesn't really matter.
The likelihood of somebody doing it too much if they don't have enough is very low.
Very rare. Very rare. When you start to move, that shoulder moves first, moves way over top of that right foot.
Gives a
big turn, doesn't it? And we've made this really large turn. Now, not everybody needs to turn the same amount, obviously, because they may not be able to change direction effectively and get back open to the target by the time they hit it. But certainly this idea that we can start to facilitate a turn just by this. Yeah. I feel like golfers are typically pretty poor at turning, both directions, both through and back. This is a really simple idea to get players to actually pivot well in the backswing.
Do you think golfers think about turning from here rather than stretching out?
For sure.
Yeah, I feel like somebody would feel like they've made a really nice backswing if they just turn 90 degrees around their spine.
For sure. I think you see people all the time in kind of like this orientation. Yeah. and they just turn.
Yeah.
Well, I can turn those 90 degrees, but that is not very athletic.
Totally.
I'm mostly on my lead side.
Yeah.
Can't do a lot from there. I lose access to my trail side, which can help us create speed.
Yeah.
I lose my width typically because I get to here and this doesn't feel like a very full golf swing. So that's where I start to collapse and get some of those issues.
That was pretty comfortable.
Okay, good.
All right, so pillar number 1, get that lead shoulder, that AC
joint.
joint. Really get that one traveling as far as you possibly can.
For sure. And some players will have a lot of flexibility and be able to move that pretty far.
Yep.
But again, I would just, a simple kind of, if we don't have access to 3D, a simple idea is like in a mirror, put a little Sharpie line on the mirror, like a little dry erase marker, and then measure what 8 inches looks like and kind of move to that point. And if we can do that, I think we're setting that player up for a little bit more success, specifically with driver. But I think the longer the iron gets, you know, a wedge, you don't really have to move that far. We want that divot deeper. We want it more in front of the golf ball. We're trying to drive that low point. So it's probably, and I'm not trying to hit it as hard, probably okay to stay a little bit more centered or on top of it.
Okay, number 2.
Yes, second one is the application of vertical force.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna have you kind of step on this band with your left foot.
Okay.
Okay. Yep, and you're just gonna kind of put it underneath that foot, up over the left shoulder, and you'll just support it with your thumb. I'll take the club from you for a sec. So just get into your normal golf stance here. Good. And I want you to go up to the top of your backswing. Okay. Good. So when the club's ready to change direction, right? Now, you're gonna end up slacking the line a little bit. You're gonna put a little softness into it. And then you're gonna push it straight up in the air, as high as you can get it to go. Okay, but I want it to be maximum stretch by the time you get to impact.
Okay, wow. Yeah, not happening post, yeah.
You got
Interesting.
it. So for most, that means that you're gonna have to start the slacking process
earlier.
Okay. Okay. Good. Can you give it a little bit more violence to that? A little bit more aggression to straightening. Good. Now I want you to be free to let that foot move.
Yeah, it feels like it was moving for sure. The lift wanted to lift.
Different, right?
Yeah.
And again, that takes us to an interesting topic around the ideal amount of pressure on your lead foot when you hit a driver.
Yeah.
Okay, or when you hit a golf ball. So most people will kind of tell me 75-25, 80-20 is kind of the gold standard. Yeah. What I will tell you is that there is absolutely no range that is unacceptable for front foot. So one of the best drivers of the golf ball I've ever seen is 5% pressure on his lead foot when he hits driver. So we can use that band in a couple different ways. I can use my leg to push it straight.
Yep.
I can cue a rising shoulder.
Sure. I feel a bit of that as well. I definitely feel like a bit of...
So if that goes up, this will straighten. If this straighten, that's will go up.
Got it.
Okay. Or we can just coach this as a pure jump up off the ground. Not my favorite way to coach it, but certainly one that has been effective for some players.
Yeah.
Hard. There you go. Excellent. So let's go ahead and try to hit one like that. Get that left AC joint. Good. Good. So that one there is now the longest that we've seen in this data, right? So the couple that just moved the ball, but 282, 249, 268, and this one was 285. Attack angle goes up a little bit, probably creating a little bit less spin on the golf ball. Try that again. Feel like you get airborne on that lead side before you hit it. Yeah,
you can really see the people who struggle with that kind of like drive and ball flight will really benefit from this as well. Lots of lift.
Big time. Good.
I'm not sure if you were going to get there with one of the other points. What do you think about sort of like in terms of getting light as we make backswing, lead heel? Is that something you're a fan of it?
Love it. If it helps you get that AC joint to move.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the times players can't get there because this is rooted too much into the ground. Some freedom there. I mean, if I just go here versus here, that left shoulder moves a greater distance.
And does it also feed into when you look at the sequence on the graphs and on the plates, the sort of landing and
Not
the pushing?
necessarily, because I don't really like when players land on their heels. Okay. So typically speaking, not every player, some players will get aggressively into their heel pretty early. But a lot of players use the ball of their lead foot until well after impact. Yeah. So if that heel kind of comes up, it doesn't necessarily slam back down. Yeah. The foot does, or the toe box does. It crushes into the ground, but the heel might not slam. Good. So 66 ball, 14 club, 293 carry.
Yeah, those are better numbers.
For sure. I mean, especially when it lands on the target line, that's not so bad.
There's a good amount of freedom to that as well. I love, like I've talked in the channel loads of times, Ryan, about I never really feel like I have freedom in my golf swing because I don't give myself enough room and rope when it comes to the athleticism of it. All of these things feed the athleticism of the golf swing, which is what we want, isn't it?
That's all I'm about.
Yeah.
I think positions of where the club is, how the face looks, I think it's all important, but I think that it is so far downstream that it's not really the thing that we need to fix as golf instructors. I think it's the general movement of the athlete that causes those things to kind of occur. So when we try to fix the face or we try to fix the path, or we miss why it's there in the first place. And if I can create an athletic environment where there's only one place for that club to go, stop thinking about it. And we can kind of act athletically.
Okay.
Yeah, so key number 3 is something actually we chatted about a little bit, is a counter movement.
Yeah.
Right? So there's this illusion in the world of golf, especially among some older school players, that we start at 50-50. Okay? Where we've got a balance of pressure between my left and right foot. And for some, that is absolutely going to work. But if we're looking for speed, a really easy recipe is to basically load as much pressure or weight, if we will, onto our lead side before we execute our backswing. So this time, I want you to feel like you have your right foot completely elevated.
Okay.
Okay? It doesn't have to be high, but I want it to be no weight-bearing activity at all. And then you're going to slam that foot into the ground and let that accelerate the club backwards.
Okay, so we go. So you just sort of tapping,
you can go a little bit
range.
back and forth. You get to that left foot fully, and then it's that, and then let that accelerate the golf club.
Got it.
So I want to see how quickly you can swing the club to the top. So let's get a little bit of it. It can be a rock, it can be a step, but you're shifting pressure and weight from side to side.
Yep.
Right? And the last time that you're on that left foot, that right foot goes down and club accelerates. Yep. You got it. Good. And then you're going to feel that explosion after that AC joint moves. Good.
Yeah, that was quicker.
69 at 116.
Yep.
And we got to 298 carry there. I mean, 168 and a half. I mean, we're closing in on tour average, and we're closing in on a number that is plenty to win on the PGA Tour right now.
Yeah.
Right. If we look at Brian Campbell.
Brian Campbell, yes, 161.
61. I'm not sure what they showed him on the broadcast, but 61 in reality. Nick Taylor, I mean, at sub-average, he's about 171 on course right now.
Yeah.
You've got Sepp Straka, 9th best player in the world, doesn't really exceed 168.
Interesting.
And I mean, who else has won this year? Brian Harmon has won this year.
Yeah.
We're seeing a high percentage of golf tournaments won by sub-average ball speed. You'll see when we run numbers year over year amongst winners, oftentimes we're seeing winners get slower.
So it's funny you should say that. That's probably a topic for another video, another day. But like I looked at Tommy Fleetwood at the Travelers, he wasn't trying to hit it long. He went mini driver most holes, happy to be 166 to 168 with his mini driver. He's not trying to be 185 ball speed as a need to win.
For sure. And again, we look at those ball speed numbers, and they're aspirational for us as like recreational players or players that don't play those golf courses. The fact is that 170 is a requirement, or close to maybe 165 is a requirement to go play 7,500 yards. But most of us are not playing 75. Most of us are playing a lot closer to 65. But what's the ideal ball speed at 6,500? It's probably not 170 ball speed. It's probably more like 155.
I was going to say it's probably not even 160. Yeah, it's probably sub that. Yeah.
Right? Because I mean, I know that if you go up to those, the forward or like the more forward tees, a lot of the times, maybe not at the most forward tees, you might be able to drive a bunch of greens. But if you go to say that the one back from that,
which is where we've been going with our graduation series,
you'll probably have to stop hitting driver so often because it'll narrow in.
Yep.
Right. So maybe there's not such an advantage to those numbers playing such a shorter golf course.
But this is for the person out there, isn't it? Who's kind of like got all the room to grow into hitting it into the fairway 50 yards down and sending it past their buddies.
You bet. You bet. This is for that player like struggling to carry it past 235, 240. With today's current technology, I look at 240 as kind of our bare minimum. With players, it doesn't matter what the age, the athleticism of that player is. I like to see at least 240.
I love what you said about the heavier steps. That's where the extra speed came from there.
Yeah.
So the pitter-patter ones, moving the feet is fine, but the more forceful ones.
So if we put that up on the force plates, what we would see is a growing kind of, that purple graph that I showed earlier.
Yep.
You would see this big bubble form underneath the graph,
Yep.
right? And then it would have this massive spike where yours would be more of a flat line, typically.
Yep.
Right? So if speed's the name of the game, we want to see that big bubble and then this really, really stark rise.
Right.
It's just pumping some kinetic energy in. So let's see if we can get this to 170. How often do we get to 170?
Hold on. Let me get that dynamic loft in place.
All right, let's do it.
Because the more we push, like I'm looking at like how much ball speed is lost in 22.6. I mean, that golf swing there's probably 170.
For sure.
Just got the wrong amount of delivered loft on it.
100%. But again, right now we're working at maxing out the speed without that construction that we did earlier.
Okay.
So the left AC joint, big heavy steps, and the explosion of that left side.
And felt good too.
Okay.
And that was a better delivered loft. That's kind of why I wanted just to change driver quickly.
And we got to 301. So got a little bit more out of a little bit less. 1 mile per hour slower.
Sure.
But got a little bit more carry out of it. Heavy. It's back up to 15 there.
Yep.
Good. Even a little bit more. So I'm going to try to help you here.
Okay.
So you're going to be you're going to be doing the steps. I'm going to be swinging the golf club.
Okay.
Okay. We're just going to take it about to the top. You're going to kind of continue to let it go after I let go. Step. Oh, harder. Hard. Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Good.
Got it.
So now I'm going to pull back on you. I'm not going to help you.
Okay.
I'm going to pull back. You try to get me to go with you.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
That's the cadence that I'd like to see from
Love
you.
it.
There you go. Better.
Okay.
The speed goes back up a little bit. Obviously, we're not finding the center very often there, but that's okay. Right? This isn't about finding the center. This is about raising the capacity. So
that's an important note. I think people don't realize it's okay to mishit it on the driving range or indoors when you're working on speed.
I think you have to. I think you have to take the governor off, right? The comp that I always use would be like F1 drivers.
Yeah.
Right? They'll go at insane speeds, but they'll be always under control. Probably not panicking that much about the speed that they're creating, but it's because they grew up driving really fast go-karts, and then they graduated to an F3 car, and then an F2 car, and then finally an F1 car, right? So they've normalized speed. I think we've got to do the same as golfers. So if we're swinging it at 90, right, we need to normalize what 95 feels like, and we need to normalize what 100 feels like. And this is where I think like using speed training systems, I think is a really good thing. But we want to have an idea of like how we can move that stack system or whatever faster. Not just, hey, swing it as fast as you can.
Agreed.
I want to get an idea of like, hey, what can I contribute here? So I can kind of find that cruising speed. Because if you're capable of, 115, then we really just cruise at 112 and it probably feels a whole lot easier.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I remember Scott Coukes telling me to 10% increase in speed requires 30% force. So it's not a 1-to-1 ratio of to get 10% extra, you put 10% more in. It doesn't work that way.
For sure.
It's a massive amount of additional force to move it a little bit.
Because we need to take that like linear work and turn it into like angular momentum, right? But unfortunately, it's not a fair fight. So somebody who's swinging at 90, they might get 30% more speed at only 30% more work. But a player who's swinging at 120 might have to do 50% more to get just 5% more clubhead speed. It's just not a very fair relationship, which is why it's so hard for fast players to get faster.
Yeah, much more.
Right? They have to work a lot harder than a player who's at 90. I mean, normally if somebody comes in at 90, we can get them to 100 in an hour.
Yeah, you can probably get halfway there with perceived effort.
For sure.
Just try a little bit harder.
For sure.
You'll probably get a
and
few
they're
more
always leaving something on the table, right? There's always something that's pretty far out of whack. But yeah, that's the kind of the three major pieces that I would always look for. There's certainly a lot more that goes into it, but from kind of a takeaway, if the shoulder turn is sufficient because this moves, if we're using those counter movement steps and we're really using the left side to propel us upwards, I think that's where we stand probably the biggest chance of not screwing up maybe what works well for a player.
Without a doubt.
Right? So
I think of the two, I think the sort of AC joint back, lots of people will get that, and I think that will be good. I think the sort of pressure and sort of feeling, the sort of force magnify will be good. I think where I would encourage you guys to get out your comfort zone is on the vertical, on the lead side. Like,
For sure.
it might feel silly. You know, you might feel a bit embarrassed doing it because your friends will say, well, why are you losing your balance?
Yeah.
That's okay. You know, you're allowed to gain sort of the experience in order to make that look more athletic if you want, or more balanced if you want.
You got it. But I mean, if Scotty is, you know, being the #1 player in the world, if he's any indicator of how important balance is, I mean, as long as we're balanced and we're finding the center of the club face eventually. But I don't expect people to swing as hard as they can on the golf course. I want them to swing as hard as they can in practice, because again, we need to normalize that speed. And if that means you lose your balance a little bit, so be it.
Agreed.
Because you'll get faster on golf course. You probably should.
If you're not, I mean, that's the thing. If you're every time in balance, you're probably leaving quite a bit in the tank.
I agree. And I think it's really important that if you're on a grass deck, I think the next person that comes through the driving range should know that you are practicing there. At home, my swing cap plates, they wear out the front plate way faster than the back plate because of how important that lead side contribution is.
Right.
That wear pattern is very evident. I probably only have to change the back mat, twice a year, and I have to change the lead one about 5 times a year. And it's simply because that left foot is so much more important to our golf swing than our trail side.
All right, guys, no excuses. You've got your homework. You've got your 3-pointers, AC joint. We've got the pressure from our feet. We've really got to make sure that when we land, so we've got less weight on that lead side when it hits, and we really sort of create that force that's going to propel the golf club into the backswing. And then obviously as we come down, we really want to feel like Ryan had me with that band, we want to feel like we're really stretching, lengthening that lead side to get all the force, all that vertical force. There's nothing worse than seeing somebody in this position for so long in their golf swing, and all of that sort of stored up energy is stored up just in there, and it's never going to come out.
I mean, talk about creating this environment that might be bad for your back.
Yeah.
If you're trying to stay close to the ground as you create all this torque and this rotation, and you're staying heavier, you're just putting more and more strain on those joints. So the idea of getting off that lead side will also help with players that potentially have some back injuries being caused by their golf swing. So
love it, love it. Well, you've just given our audience a gift of 20 plus yards. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Let us know in the comments how much you gain. I love when I see these videos, and they tend to be the most evergreen ones, because anything related to tips and drills that you can take to the range, people will find them and they'll maybe go and follow on some other ones. And reading people's stories of it transforms the game. It can be really transformational.
For sure.
So please let us know after you've tried this, what did you gain? Get on a launch more, maybe before and then afterwards, and see, did you gain 20 yards, 30 yards? I'm sure there'll be some pretty impressive stories, and be in there to support each other as well. If somebody has done, make sure you leave them a little, well done, congrats, good work in there in the comments. That's what it's all about in there. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this. More to come with Ryan. We've had some amazing information already, but there's some good stuff coming as well. So stay tuned for that. We'll see you again soon.